from Studio K at Foxboro Cable Access.
Saffron is essentially the stamen of a rose.
Feeling creative?
Sage has a great flavor.
Is your palate needing a new challenge? Well, let's cook with Mike Damasio.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Cook with Mike. I'm your host, Mike Damasio. Welcome back into Studio K here, and today we have another great show. I think I say that every show because you know what? They're always great. The food's always excellent in the end, and I only say that because the staff says so. All right, so today we're going to do two Italian dishes. One is a dessert, and one is a pesto from the Naples region called pasta di rucola, which is basically a pesto made with arugula instead of basil, which is a traditional basil, the pesto that you would make. So for the pesto, I have my ingredients here. We're going to use this nice, beautiful, fresh arugula, cherry tomatoes, pine nuts, pasta, garlic, and the lemon zest, and of course the grana padano cheese that will be grated. For the Italian dessert, it's called chiacchiere. It's a traditional carnival dessert that you'd get, street food at a fair or something that's going on, some kind of fun event that's happening in Italy. And it's very basic, very simple, but it's also very delicious in the end. It resembles a fried dough, and you'll see how we're going to do it. And that's what we're going to start with, because we're going to make our dough. We're going to have to let it rest for a little bit, and while that's resting, we'll end up making our pesto and pasta. And in the end, we'll have a nice two-course meal for you. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's cook. All right. Start off with my gloves, as always. We're going to start with the making the dough. Again, very simple process. We're just going to take the recipe you're going to get online is going to be for double what we're making here today, because this does make a lot of dessert. So we're just going to make half the batch here. So it's just going to be, we're going to whisk one egg. Put that in there. And we're going to get the sugar, which is going to be 1 tablespoon of sugar. Put this right in here. 1 tablespoon. Very good. Now, baking's not one of my fortes. I do just follow recipes for baking, and I do my best, and sometimes it comes out great, other times not so much. But following directions, I can do that. And this is the first time I'm making all of these dishes, so this is all going to be new for me and new for you. But you'll see how you can get through it. And with the, here in Studio K, no cuts. We're going to do this in 30, 40 minutes, so just so you can do it the same way at home. All right. Another ingredient in this cookie is a wine. You can use a grappa, you can use a red wine, anything that's just going to be a little sweet, and that's just going to be 1 tablespoon of that as well. Just adds a little bit of depth to the pastry when it's all finished. And then we're going to zest some lemon. Right here, we're just going to take 1 whole lemon here and just do about half of it. We're going to zest it all in here. This is just going to add, again, some nice flavor, sweeten it up. Don't want to get our little sticker here. All right. So we're going to do about a teaspoon of the grated lemon zest. That looks like a good amount. Save that, reserve that for later. All right, and then I blend this all together. I'm just going to do a little pinch of salt here. Very good. Mix this up. We're going to make sure the egg gets nice and whisked here. And right before we add the flour, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of oil. Once again, we're going to incorporate all this together. So I find these recipes online, and just searching Instagram. There's a lot of great ideas out there, and that's what I just recommend. You go in there and see a recipe that you like, something that might taste good to you, and if you make it, you change anything in that recipe that's given to you, it now becomes your recipe. And you individualize it for your tastes. So anything you see online, you never have to follow step by step, or ingredient for ingredient. If you want to switch it out, that's all entirely up to you to make it yours. Right? So now we're going to add 1 cup of flour here. Just want to make sure we get 1 cup. Measure that into a little measuring cup here. Looks like we got just about a cup here. Very good. And we're going to add this slowly. We want to get a nice blend in here. We don't want to have any lumps for this. So we're going to start. I'm going to start with a whisk so that we can blend it in and make sure it all incorporates nicely. And then as it starts to thicken, I'm going to switch over to a wooden spoon. All right, but let's get all this in here. We don't want anything sticking in between these slots of the whisk here, so that's why as it gets thicker, I'm going to tap this all out and start up with the spoon. Okay. So we're going to keep incorporating this little by little. Once it starts to get into a really good dough, you'll see it start to form, and once we get all the flour in here, we're going to transfer it to the cutting board below. But again, we're still just going to add this little by little. Eventually I'm going to go in there with my hands, but I want to get all the flour in here first. Let's get the rest in there. All right. Time for the hands, just to get all this dough incorporated. Once we get all this flour, or the majority of it, into this mixture here, we will move it to the board. As you can see, it's still incorporating all that flour. It didn't look like it was going to take it, but it is. Right, and the recipe's been pretty simple so far. 1 cup, 1 egg, 1 cup of flour, 1 tablespoon of each of the other ingredients, 1 teaspoon of the lemon zest, and you're going to get this nice, beautiful dough here. So I'm going to transfer this now to the cutting board and just work this dough. I'm going to work it for about 5 minutes. Try to get it as smooth as possible. Just by working it, you'll see it'll start to smooth out as the more we use it. That's what we're going to go for. We're going to try to get a nice smooth looking dough. And I'm just folding it within itself, right? Lifting up the sides and folding it within itself. Pushing it down and fold. Right? So we get a nice ball. So I'm going to start working it into a ball now. Just working it like this. Try to get a nice smooth ball. And here we go. All right, that looks great. That's good base for our dessert. So we're going to put this aside now for about 30 minutes or 20 minutes, and we'll be back with to start up with the pesto. Oop, and I picked the brand new wrap. Okay, so let's put this aside right over here. Get our dirty dishes aside. And now let's start making our pesto. All right, the first thing we want to do is we're going to toast our pine nuts. Grab ourselves a pan here. Oh, my pan's out. All right, let's turn on our little thing. Change up our gloves. So this pesto looks delicious. Again, traditional pesto is with a basil. This one is with an arugula. Okay, so I'm going to toast up our pine nuts here. No oil, just dry heat. It'll take just a few minutes. Okay. All right. So that is about a 1/4 cup of pine nuts. Okay. So this is going to be made without cooking any of the ingredients except for the cherry tomatoes. We're also going to roast these up right now. That's going to be the first thing we do. but the rest of the pesto is going to remain cold. You don't want to traditionally cook a pesto or over the heat of the pan. It does make either the basil or the arugula, it just makes it a little more bitter the more you cook it down. It also changes the color. You want a nice, sharp, bright green color, and by cooking it, you're going to create the wilting of the nice herbs, and create a little brown or a more brown color than what you want. All right, so once again, we're going to get our stove a cooking here. It's Studio K. We're going to add a little bit of oil. A little glug, as they say. And we're going to cut these cherry tomatoes right in half. If you've seen this little trick before, please, I recommend knife cut glove if you're not experienced with using a knife, but this is a great method to get these all nice in half, all around the same size. We'll do this in a few batches. You can also use like the cover of a jar or something to put on top, and then just again use it to cut each of these tomatoes right in half. Okay, that's a good amount of the tomatoes. As this pan gets nice and hot, we're just going to let these roast and caramelize down. So they'll be one of the last ingredients we're going to add into our dish. All right, our pine nuts are nice and toasty. Taking them off again, they're all good to go. Where'd our thing go here? I'm going to put these in with the cheese since they toasted up delicious. You see a nice color on these. The smell took over Studio K here. Delicious, nice nutty flavor. Okay, so we're just going to let these roast down. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Very simple, but we just want to cook it down so they caramelize and get nice and brown. You can also roast these in an oven if you'd like, around about 300 degrees, 15-20 minutes. Try to get the same result that we're going to get here. So let's start our pesto process. I was going to use our little blender, but I think our pesto is going to be too large for that little blender. So we're going to start our pasta now and make sure this gets nice and cooked. We have our water rolling already, so we are good to go there. Dishes are stacking up, crew. It's going to be a messy day today. All right. Let's just get this going. I had already salted the water earlier, so that is great to go. So now we're going to make the pesto. All right. So we're going to add so in Italy they call arugula rocket or Rucola, but they use this rocket. They usually use the full leaf. This is baby arugula. The supermarket didn't have any of the on-branch arugula that I would have liked to use for this, but this is still just as delicious. A nice peppery flavor does arugula have. It's just really delicious. All right, so we're going to add, we have the arugula in the pan. You're going to see why I have that water there as well. We're going to do 2 cloves of garlic here. We're going to mince these up nice and small. Take off that little end that holds on to the core of the garlic cloves. Get them off, just knock off both ends. Get the skin off easy. I usually just cut them down the middle. And again, for this, we won't have to cut these too small. I'm going to cut them as small as I can, but we really don't have to be specific with making them so small because we're going to be blending it all together a little later. But you see how easy when you cut them in half, all the skin comes right off, nice and easy. Saves time rather than trying to peel it away. So let's just rough chop this to a small, not quite a mince, but small enough. I see some of the garlic skin here. Let's get that out of there. All right. So these tomatoes are looking great, browning up nicely. I'm going to pull this off, let them finish over here. Delicious. This is what we're going for in these guys. Nice little char. Like I said, you could roast these as well. So you just want to be able to get a nice char like this. A little tougher to control here with our electric tops, but they're looking beautiful. I toss them over, and we can cook a little more on the skin side. Okay, but they're looking great. Pasta's going to be done shortly. Okay, let that just cook right there. So we have our arugula, we have our garlic. We're going to add, wrong pine nuts. We're going to add our toasted pine nuts. The juice of 1 lemon. So we're going to cut this lemon here. We use everything. Multi-purpose. Okay, make sure we don't have any seeds, which is what I have this here for. Try to get all the lemon juice out of here. That's really going to help balance the peppery flavor of the arugula. Put half a lemon there. Other half of the lemon here. Just squeezing out, making sure no seeds get in there. Beautiful. All right. All right. Then we're going to add a little bit of water. The water will keep the pesto from being bitter. And this is cold water. You can see the remnants of ice cubes. I had a few ice cubes in this water. I wanted to make sure it kept it nice and cold. It's a little trick that, again, I learned online. I have tried this before, and it does do a great job in minimizing the bitterness, and it helps you use less oil in your dish. So we're going to go here again with about a half a cup to start of olive oil. Okay. And now we're going to take it and put it in our little, put it in our little blender here. We'll do a batch at a time. Let's get some of that liquid. Hey, we're learning as we're going along here in Studio K. Got to figure things out on the fly. We adapt, we persevere. Here we go. This will be batch 1, and then we'll make a second batch. Beautiful. I'm going to add right to it. Now that it broke it down, it's looking good. Going to remove our tomatoes. They are definitely caramelized well enough. And we're going to put the rest of this mixture in here. Oh yeah. Good mess today here at Studio K. Always fun. It's like throwing confetti at New Year's Eve sometimes. It's a nice, beautiful, rich color. Make it a beautiful blend. Okay, it's very slippery. All right, we're gonna move this here. Okay, almost done here with our pesto dish, and as soon as this is done, we'll snack, and then we'll get into our dessert. Okay, our pasta is looking really good here. Excellent. We're gonna go right from pan to pasta. All right, so let's remove some of these tomatoes. We're going to put them in our little container here off to the side. Okay, we're going to use, I need to take a 2-minute stop here to find another pan. Let's get the right pan here. Okay, we're going to take our pasta, add it to this pan here with a little bit of the pasta water included. We'll take the first batches without the water, add it right in this pan here. A little bit of pasta water is good. It's going to keep everything nice and thin. So again, you can see there's no heat on this pan. We're going to put the pesto right in here with the pasta. No heat on this pan at all. We're going to put half of our tomatoes on top. We're going to add a lot of that pesto. Delicious. We're going to give this a good toss. And now the best part of the dish is our Parmesan cheese. You do not have to be shy with the Parmesan. We're going to grade this down to deliciousness. Don't have to be shy. I don't know about you, but I love the Parmesan. All right. Very good. Very good. Once again, we're going to toss this. I mean, that just looks great. Look at how bright that green is. Popping with the cherry tomatoes. We're going to get a delicious new plate here to accent our plate. I think this is our best spot for this, huh? We're going to put this right in the middle. Again, you can choose any type of pasta you want for this dish. I just chose a penne today. I think it holds the sauce a little better than a straight spaghetti. We're going to add the rest of our cherry tomatoes to the top and around. A delicious sauce. And of course, a little more Parmesan cheese. I want that big chunk falling in there. Delicious. All right, so this is our first course here, our pesto de rucola. It's a delicious arugula pesto, roasted cherry tomatoes with penne pasta. Again, don't cook your pesto. Keep it nice and fresh. The heat from the pasta will heat the pesto as much as you need it to be heated. A little extra pasta water if you feel you need to thin it out. But this is the dish number one for today, and we're going to get into our dessert right after I give a sample of how this came out. Let's see how we did. Delicious. Easy to make, quick to make, not a lot of ingredients. Most of the stuff you're going to have at home. What a great meal for, it's light, it's fresh, a great springtime meal to have as the nights are getting warmer. This is a great dish for a cool night as we enter into early spring. Now we're going to clean up for a few seconds here and get back to our dessert. Hey, welcome back. So we just finished our pesto dish, and before the pesto dish we made our dough for the cacchiere, which is the a Carnival street food dessert, basically like a fried dough. So here's our dough. It's been resting for about a half hour. It was exactly how much we wanted it to rest for. I'm going to now just cut it into smaller workable sizes here. Okay, put these three sides aside, since we're just going to be using, making some for us here. So I'm going to take a little bit of the flour here from our bowl, put it on the countertop here, and some on our little rolling pin. We'll call this the Betty rolling pin. And we're going to roll this dough out as thin as we possibly can. You want to get it nice and thin. Right. As you can see, I have my oil going all over here right now. You don't want a super hot oil. You know, typically like French fries and will be done at like 375. So I would say like between 325 and 350 for this purpose. Now these, you can make any shape with these cookies. You can make diamonds, triangles, rectangles. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. These, I've seen them in all different shapes and sizes. And I'm a little stuck to the table, but we're gonna make this work, right? All right. So this is pretty good thickness here. Let me get some more flour here. Get these chunks out of there, just the flour. I'm gonna continue to just roll it flat. All right, much better. All right, so we're gonna just take this. First, we'll make this one square. So we're gonna square off this sheet of pasta here, so we can make uniform pieces. Now again, if you want to use it, we can use those later. You'll see we just make those randoms. We'll see what we can make out of those. Now we're gonna make these pretty. I'm gonna use our little serrated edge here and just make beautiful little crackers. Little pieces of fried dough. All right, let's see if our dough is ready here. Our oil looks like that's in good shape. A little tester piece, and we're just going to lay these out in here. We don't want it too hot. The thing with these is that you want to keep them moving. So once you get them in there, you're going to want to make sure you can get them out. And we're missing a tongs. All right, so we just want to give them a flip as they keep cooking. You want to get them to nice and brown. All right, while they're getting into where we want them to go, we're going to start our second piece here. Some more flour. All right, again, as thin as we can get this. And these are great little dessert for any occasion, really. Kids love it because it's, you'll see we're going to top it with sugar in the end. So, you know, you top it with powdered sugar and it's a kid favorite immediately. And they're nice, they're light. You saw the ingredients. They're going to have a little bit of a unique taste because of the little bit of wine we put in here today, but it's not overwhelming. It's just wine is such part of the culture that they use it whenever they can. All right, so we'll ride that one out. So once again, we'll just try to square this off as best we can. And what we'll do here is we'll make, with this edge, little triangles. Right, we got little triangles. Beautiful. So these are getting nice and cooked here. We're almost ready to remove these from the fire. We can add in our triangles. And then, like I said, we'll take out these. Oh, yep. Okay. Take out these. Dab them on napkins, get the grease off of there. All right, then like I said, with the, you know, with our spare pieces, we can do whatever we want. Let's try a little twisty upper, try a twisty there. We'll make these all little twisties. See if they hold up. It's all up to you. Use your imagination. You can do whatever you want with these things. Another twisty. Just keep making these little twisty sticks. See how they come out. Maybe this even has a name. Who knows? Maybe we invented something new here in Studio K. Turn the world upside down. Alright, so let's keep flipping these now. Triangles will be done first. Our twisties are unraveling. They're looking good. Then we're going to use this powdered sugar at the end to top them all off and have ourselves a nice sweet dessert in just a few minutes. While we're waiting for these to cook, just want it to get a little bit brown like the ones we have here already. Right? So we're just letting everything brown up a little bit. Again, very simple, very easy. Kids will love it. Great little treat any time of the year. These are usually a holiday cookie. But again, you just find them at street festivals and fairs, anywhere, and just like you find fried dough. Around here, you find these little stands all over Italy in any kind of fair they might be having. All right, so we're getting nearly done here. Push these off to the side now that they are done. Just another minute. And as they come out and cool, they'll start to crisp up a little more. As these finish, I'm just going to take some of our powdered sugar here and go over our cookies. Now our little twisty sticks coming along nicely. Just shows you don't have to waste anything with these. You know, you can use every piece of it, no matter what kind of little remnants you have left over. You can throw right into the oil. It's going to come out great. So we'll pull off these pieces now. Get these a little so they're not so greasy. A little dab. Add them to our little platter here. And that's our little dessert. Kakiyakari, right? Kakikari. And it's a delicious dessert. Let's give it a try. See how we came out here today. Really great. Such a delicious little treat, light, airy, not going to fill you up, but it's definitely going to satisfy you. And that is our show for today. Thank you very much for stopping by. We made 2 incredible dishes from Italy. Recipes will be posted at the end of the show. We look forward to the next one, and we'll see you again on Let's Cook with Mike. Have a great day.